So I built some real software with Claude Code yesterday that would have taken me days, if not weeks, to do on my own previously. I know I'm preaching to the crowd probably. I'm late to this party, but I'm glad to be here. I want to show you the use case that I use this for. I'm going to show you some of the actual code. Here's what we're going to be looking at today. Over there on the left side of the screen is Claude Code running in the desktop app. So I am using not the CLI at this point in time, but I will be soon because from what I understand, though the underlying workings of it are the same as what you get here, you do get some more firepower with using the CLI tool, which is the preferred method. And I think I'll be more comfortable doing that because I like the terminal anyway. But I digress. You got the Claude Code on the left here, and this is just the desktop app. I'm using Windows, so you can switch between Code, Cowork, and Chat up here, and it just seamlessly switches between things. Code, of course, is for development. And I'll tell you one thing that happened for me when I built this. This is an integration that I used, and I had to sync it up with my developer account, which I had to create and then get authenticated and like credentials and all these things. But all of that stuff that would have been roadblocks in the past, and they were roadblocks here, I was able to just talk to Claude Code about it, and it told me exactly how to proceed. So I actually got approved. I've got a working app, as you can see, in production as of yesterday, the 26th of March, and it works. And it works for my use case. So this is not something that I'm going to be releasing onto the store, although I might in the future make a version for others to use. If you're interested in this, let me know in the comments as we get to talking about what it is. But it's perfect for my particular business, the very specific use case that I had for this, which is basically taking data from CSV files and PDFs for a couple different companies, and they're vendors of ours. And we have a lot of invoices that we have to routinely every week just plug into our system. And I like to have everything accounted for correctly and tagged appropriately, and I built this to do that. I had previously built a spreadsheet, and I was still doing copy and paste work from the PDF or the CSV. I was doing some manipulation in the spreadsheet on Google Sheets so that I could basically download a master CSV file in the format that another service wanted it in so that that service could integrate and hook into QuickBooks for me. Well, no longer. This has saved me that $300-400 a year that I paid for that app, more than likely, if all goes well, and it has so far with my trial runs this week, it saved me that, and it's faster, and it's on my machine rather than up in the cloud. I'm not uploading anything there. I'm just hooking up straight to my QuickBooks account. So this is a custom solution. Claude Code did it for me. I've been super impressed. That's the essence of it, and I really just wanted this to be a marker for what's possible in a business use case for a non-technical, I'm kind of technical, but I'm not a developer, that knows this is possible, but doesn't know how to do it. So I'm going to scroll up here. This is a huge chat that I had back and forth with Claude, and it did all sorts of stuff. Down here on the bottom, I don't think I'm in the way. Yeah, you can still see this. So here's the folder that Claude Code built. And before I started working in Claude Code, I had these 3 files right here, and that's pretty much it. And I had a couple PDF examples because one of the companies uses PDF, so I had to get the data from there. So I gave it all the examples, and I did that, I think I did that in the chat, or maybe I just had it look at this folder initially. But the point being is it took everything that I did, and I had to have a process for this, a system for this that I was currently doing, and I told it, here's what I need it to look like at the end. Here's what it looks like at the start. Here's the information you need to get. There were a couple edge cases, but not really. It was pretty straightforward. And I asked it, what do we need to do to extract the information and then upload the information to QuickBooks? Because it's a 2-part thing previously. And if I can just do this in one fell swoop, let's do that. So it asked me maybe a couple questions, but pretty much started building a Python, and Python is a programming language. You can see that it made some .py files. These are just Python script files, and there's more in other places in this directory. So it made a Python, several different Python scripts working together, basically a little program that runs these scripts, and it happens like that. compared to uploading it to the cloud and then the service I was using doing its thing, and it took a few minutes for it even to process. It all just happens with the click of a button, and the actual button is this one right here. At the very end of everything, I said, okay, instead of me running the commands, because at first it had me run the command in the terminal, instead of me having to type in Python qboauth.py, can I just click a button and it does it for me? And of course, yes, you can do that. It made this bat file, .bat. So run once, and that checks 2 folders, one folder for each of the companies. And if there's stuff in them, a PDF in one or a CSV in the other, then it will start the process of extracting all of the data into the format that I specifically need it into to correspond with my QuickBooks file and both the classes, the categories of expenses, and then the vendors in there. And then it uploads it to QuickBooks. So the first part, the extraction, I don't think that's as big of a deal as the second part, the QuickBooks data transfer. For the QuickBooks data transfer, it had me go into this developer account, and I had actually already signed up to be Intuit developer because I had wanted to build an app a while back, and it was way too complicated, and I just gave up. So I signed back in here and said, okay, what do I do? And it walked me through the steps to set up a new app, and you can see it right here. Right here, it's called SyncBooks Now, and it just went through everything that I needed. So it turns out you have to get a couple things, an API key. I think it's an API key and credentials, 2 different pieces of information that are secure and have to be stored securely in a .env file. Well, I'm not going to open this up because those are secure pieces of information. So that's basically what makes the handshake between my computer calling out to the internet at QuickBooks and saying, hey, I got information for you. Well, it's got to sync up with my developer account using those keys. So I got that, and it puts you into a sandbox environment where you can test everything. So it's quite literally another instance of QuickBooks running that is just a sandbox, which was incredibly useful because I could test out what I was doing. I created a vendor to match my vendor and accounts to match my accounts, all the stuff, and then was able to test this without messing up my actual QuickBooks file. Very cool. Worked like a dream. And so then we went into production. Turns out, in order to go into production and get the keys for an actual production app, you got to have like an end user license agreement. You have to have a privacy policy. You got to have a website, a whole bunch of stuff. Well, asked my boy Claude to make up the bare essentials, got those, put them on Google Docs, got the address for that, made it public, put those in, worked fine, used GotSheet, which is my website, just for the where would it deploy address. And then in the credentialing process, it says, is this going to be used for customers, or will it be made available on the marketplace or something to that effect? And there's an option that says no. And that was what I clicked. No, it's going to be used for private internal use only. So that I think that made me get through all of the hoops quicker. I still had to go through all the question and answer. I still was putting all of those questions, almost all of them, into Claude just to make sure, hey, it's asking me these 5 questions. Is this correct? And I had to change some of what I put in here based on what Claude coached me on. Got through it all, got the keys for the production mode, authorized it, running this qboauth.py. Basically, that thing hooks up for the first time QuickBooks with my computer. And then I think it gives you a token that doesn't expire for like 100 days or something. So you do that once, and then for the next 3.5 months, I'm good. And then I ran the actual script, and it actually worked. So I spent a few hours on this today, but this is going to save me both time and money going forward, because instead of clicking around and spending 10, 15 minutes every time I sync these up, I've got a secure way to do this right from this local machine with one click. Literally, that's it. I'm very impressed. I did also, so Claude usage is notorious for basically for running out of tokens quickly. And yes, I had my usage bar up and running at the same time, and I could literally see it in real time during the creation of this whole folder and all of the subfolders and scripts, because I let the chat go too long, but I could see it go up like 2% at a time, and I maxed it out in about an hour. So I went from the Pro plan to the Max plan yesterday, but I think I'm net positive by a couple $100 with what it saved me in the subscription cost. I'm very pleased. I'm very excited for these custom use cases. Let me know what else you would like to see behind the scenes, what other questions you have about Claude Code, co-work chat, all these things. Subscribe to the channel. Appreciate your time. Have a great one.